So this is the 18th, let's say, calendar year since the demonstration held at the Mulberry Place, which is the Town Hamlets Council so-called town hall on that date. Today is the 1st of March, 2023, and the town hall has shifted to Whitechapel. The site of the old Royal London Hospital is now the site of the Town Hamlets Council town hall. But on the Wednesday, 1st of March 2006, the Khoodeelaar campaign held the demonstration outside the Mulberry Place, demanding that the Town Hamlets Council crooks stop colluding with the Crossrail plot to dig a big hole in Brick Lane. That is what the demonstration was about. And we succeeded. The hole was stopped. But the details of the work that we had to do in order to stop the hole being dug by the government are so extensive and so rare and unprecedented in the history of protests from community-based groups against UK central government powers that we shall be covering all those facts and details in context and update the contextual aspects topically during the coming days and weeks and months. So the Khoodeelaar television channel, this is part A of the Khoodeelaar television channel, being broadcast under the banner of Baby Angel Geronimo editions. And the Baby Angel Geronimo is the world's bestest Baby Angel Geronimo, the world's most authentic, reliable, transparent, compassionate witness to the evilness being perpetrated by the occupants in various posts in the UK state. Most notorious evilness that endorsed the concerted evil attack by Christian evilness, Middle Miss, at DEFRA was, of course, George Injustice Eustace, who was endorsed and condoned by the evilness himself, Boris Johnson. So we demonstrated on Wednesday, the 1st of March 2006, in the Mulberry Place, London E14 2BG, demanding that the crooks in control of Town Hamlets Council cease their collusion with the UK central government and withdraw their support and oppose the proposed Crossrail Hole in Brick Lane, which we succeeded, of course. On that day, there was a so-called full council meeting on the 1st of March 2006. And at the full council meeting, two people spoke in broad support of what we demanded, the Khoodeelaar campaign. But the more extensive, the detailed speaker was then councillor for the Weavers ward in Tower Hamlets, Councillor Louise Alexander. Louise Alexander changed a few words, but essentially retained the actual draft of the Khoodeelaar campaign, which gave it to her, and she represented that accurately and authentically. No member of the Labour Party Council stood up and supported Louise Alexander. And we didn't attend the actual presentation because the sight of the Labour Party councillors, the so-called community councillors, colluding with the attack on the community Brick Lane by Crossrail and maintaining silence and not supporting Louis Alexander's presentation and the motion would be too unacceptable for us. So we didn't physically go into the council gallery, but we got the authentic reports. So this marking of the anniversary of that comes at a time when other treacherous behavior by so-called community-based councillors are rampant. The most depraved collusion is, of course, the collusion and complicity with the corrupt post of elected mayor. One of the most remarkable things that emerged during the hearing of the petition against the election fraud of Lutfur Rahman, was the appearance before the election commissioner, Richard Morey, of the Imam of the Ford Square Mosque in London E1. The Imam, who probably on that date wasn't Imam any longer, but he had been known as the Imam of the Ford Square Mosque. His name was Shamsul Haq, Hoque, and Shamsul Haq was involved with an outfit called Council of Mosques in Tower Hamlets. Now, the Council of Mosques in Tower Hamlets is a disguise, a cover, which is used and abused by the crooks that control it. And we shall be talking about the intellectual property thefts and losses and damages caused by the crooks by colluding with the corrupt regime fronted by Lutfur Rahman later. We are talking about March 2006. There was no hint at that date of elected mayor or anything. The elected mayor thing was confected in 2009 and 2010 when the malcontents, antisocial elements posing as elements active from the East London Mosque began their operation, and they used a two-wheeling opportunist called George Galloway and his name in initially mobilizing the collection of the necessary requisite number of petitions in order to get the council to hold a referendum on the structure of the governance of the Tower Council, which was whether to remain a leader-led council with cabinet or to become an executive mayor-fronted council. We have been saying things about the reason why this was done. One was according to the report published on the 1st of March 2010 on Channel 4 Dispatches program called the Britain's Islamic State, fronted by Andrew Gilligan. It was the Islamic Forum Europe. And the other element was, according to actual information, not based on anything that Andrew Gilligan had said, the business interests that Siraj, known as the restaurateur Siraj, Clifton restaurant and the Sampan restaurant in Brick Lane, wanted, because he wanted to control the business interests of the Boishaki Mela and the others, of course, that Siraj was in alliance with, were, of course, linked with the Channel slaves or Channel S. Now, these are the bare actual facts about the various stages of corruption in Tar hamlets, and we shall be updating on all of those in due course. Now, going back to the demonstration on the 1st of March 2006, George Galloway was still in situ because he had only elected MP a year before, calendar year before, that is 2005. So, as the local MP for the constituency in which Brick Lane is situated, we invited him as well to attend. But Galloway behaved in typically disrespectful way, typically racist way, because he kept us waiting. He kept us waiting, and we didn't want to start the demonstration, the rally, in case he never came and he came too late. So we wanted to give him the opportunity. So he came, but he never apologized. One of the things that this disrespectful, ingrate George Galloway did was not to apologize, not to show respect to the community. And yet he had the audacity. He had the audacity to name his political kind of outfit respect. I mean, the degeneration of kind of George Galloway into a Boris Johnson clone, or Boris Johnson kind of servant, if you like, political servant, is too embarrassing to recount every time. Suffice to say that he became completely owed to the racist Nigel Farage, and he became a Brexiteer. So Galloway came too late. He came late to the he came about half an hour or 40 minutes later than he should have come. And in the demonstration, in the actual rally, the speeches that were given were all the other speeches were absolutely authentic except Galloway's. Because Galloway didn't tell the truth about what he knew and what he knew about the role that we have been playing in defending the community against the corruption of Tahamris Council. And we gave him the opportunity to speak, as we gave him opportunity to speak at other platforms that we had created for him. And the other people who spoke included, of course, Louise Alexander, and I think Oliur Rahman, who was a councillor, and he called the council, Tahamris Council, crooks in that speech. He was the only one who spoke there, and he condemned the Tahamris Council leadership at that time as being crooks because of their support for the Crossrail Hole plot. Nobody else from the sort of community side of the council that belonged to the Labour Party or to Galloway's respect kind of outfit came and spoke. And what we have found in the 17 years that have passed since 2006 is that none of these people that actually claimed to be supporting the campaign against Crossrail Hole at the election that took place in 2006, May 2006, has uttered a single word in solidarity with the campaign against the Crossrail Hole and against the council's role in the Crossrail Hole. None of the respect councillors actually spoke and has spoken. One or two respect councillors stole our published statements and misrepresented their role by mentioning Crossrail and mentioning Khoodeelaar, but not expressly saying that it was the Khoodeelaar campaign that was doing the work, and they were just exploiting the association. So these are the people that have been actually around as councillors or would-be councillors or former councillors in the community. Now, the agenda, the manifesto that we presented in 2006 at that rally on the 1st of March 2006 remains as vigorously relevant today as it was 17 years ago. And the fact, the fact that there was any confidence on the part of the individuals who put forward the name, anyone, whether it was Lutfur Rahman or whoever, 4 years later, as a potential mayor, elected mayor of the council, was solely based on the fact that we had created something that had not existed before. The mainly Bangladeshi community, mainly Bricklane area community based community, Bangladeshi community, mainly Siloti speaking community, taking on the constitutional abuse being made by the UK central government. That never happened. That never happened before, and that has never happened since. And that kind of challenge to the unconstitutionality, illegality, undemocratic behavior by the UK central government or by UK regional government or any council is not likely to happen anytime soon, except if we do the campaign. Now, one of the things that must be said is about the popular councillors. The popular councillors of 1921, 102 years ago, were the last lot of people from the East End of London. The last lot of people from the East End of London that had anything remotely related to the defense of the community in the East End or any part of the community in the East End of London as against the central government policies. In 1921, the central government was, of course, conservative. And in 2006, the central government was, of course, fronted by Tony Blair, as was the Tower Hamlets Council. Both of them colluded with one another and colluded against the community and its in Bricklane. The website of the Tower Hamlets Council today, 1st of March 2023, contains a promotional reference to what it's called the Elizabeth line. Now, that is a statement based on the lies of the traitors, because the Elizabeth line is not producing anything like what the crooks in the Tower Hamlets Council now are claiming in their website. I'll check the actual contents and read it out because it is worth reading out evidence on this day that we are marking that rally that we held on this day 17 years ago. This is This is the statement of lies that the Towners Council has put on the website. Well, there are several items on the website, and the East London Mosque is not far. It's about 3 minutes or 4 minutes walk from the new town hall. And what Lutheraman is being warned about here and herewith and hereby is to make sure that it does not allow the crooks from the East London Mosque gang to have anything to do with the town hall. The crooks and the thugs in the East London Mosque operating under various banners are criminals, and those criminals must not be allowed by Lutfur Rahman to abuse the town hall's presence in the location or to interfere with people's public, ordinary people of Tower Hamlets having access to the town hall of their council. This is something that will be put to Lutfur Rahman and the Tower Hamlets Council in detail. So I'm still looking for a reference to Crossrail by Lutfur Rahman. That is what I'm looking for. In case anyone viewing this is wondering what I'm doing, I'm looking for reference to the distorted name Elizabeth line and the claim of regeneration. Our administration's Whitechapel regeneration program, with that is 23rd May 2021, that is heart of the community, creating 3,500 homes and 5,000 jobs in Whitechapel, is now moving towards scheduled completion in 2022. The 115 million projects will not only bring this important historical but vacant building, the former Royal London Hospital site, back into the public use, but also provide a joint hub for other bodies, including Tower Hamlets Homes and the Clinical Commissioning Group. Now, that was dated 23rd of May 2021, and I'm looking in the context of the limitation of this program for a later statement by Lutfur Rahman. Let's see if this item has got this one. Okay, this is what I was looking for. Lutfur Rahman, executive mayor of Tower Hamlets, said, "This is a great day for Tower Hamlets as the vision we had for the iconic and historic Old Royal London Hospital building finally becomes a reality. And I thank everyone who has played a part in getting us here. With so many stories to tell, this is a building. Well, he didn't write this for a start, I am saying. Has served local people for centuries and will now continue to do so as the new, permanent, and more accessible town hall for Tower Hamlets. Well, I'm saying to Lutfur Rahman that he must not tell lies. It will not be accessible to the ordinary people as he will make it accessible to the thugs and criminals associated with the crooks and criminals operating from the base in East London Mosque. I'm saying that on this live program. And Lutfur Rahman must not ignore this and must not take the tolerance of the community for granted. People will be keeping a very close and sharp eye on the extent of Tower Hamlets Council being exploited and made open to the criminal gangs, the shadowy gangs behind Lutfur Rahman. With so many stories to tell, this is a building which has served local people for centuries. What does he know about centuries? It's a town hall proven to stand the test of time. What the fuck? What does he mean? And one we can all take great pride in. That's not true. Access and control is what matters. And we shall be having a very long list of things to say about this. It's an important moment for Whitechapel, as in preserving another piece of its fascinating past. What the fuck? What does he know about the fascinating past? Thuggery, lying, corruption, criminality. This same building was abused by the socialist wankers in September 1993 to sabotage the constitutional campaign against racists and racist attackers that I had created and I had been given publicity, legitimate publicity and coverage by the BBC. The SWP anchors and Ken Lying Still Livingstone's ally, Kumar More Shit, sabotaged that peaceful movement and created a bogus confrontation between youths and the police, thus giving the Daily Mail and the scum and the police another propagandists 95% of the moral high ground, thus sinking for the moment the strength of the campaign that I had created against the attackers of Quddus Ali. So, what does he know? Where was Lutfur Rahman in 1993? He was nowhere. So, stop lying, Lutfur Rahman. Okay, he's talking about Whitechapel regeneration. The new town hall is part of a wider regeneration. The new town hall is part of a wider regeneration. Well, that is a grammatical error. It should be in, not is Whitechapel, which is creating a new history in one of UK's most historic areas. Historic about what? Lutfur Rahman was described correctly by Abbasuddin alias Halal as being brainwashed by elements operating in the East London Mosque. He must not. He must not go along with any statement published by the Tar Hamlets Council website or in the name of Tar Hamlets Council that reeks, stinks of Lutfur Rahman being brainwashed by other elements now. It says, last year the Elizabeth line opened, a station directly opposite the new town hall. What the fuck? This is nothing to do with the town hall. It's to do with the alignment. Nothing to do with the town hall. And the area is set to benefit from the multi-million pound Whitechapel Road Improvement Program, which include improvement to Whitechapel Market, along with the creation of the new state-of-the-art Whitechapel Life Sciences Cluster, supporting 5,000 jobs. We shall be monitoring all these elements in the speech, whoever wrote this statement. But Lutfur Rahman must not be taking anything for granted, and he must not forget what I told him. The Tar Hamlets Council corruption, which he supports, which he is part of. I told him on the Friday, 29th of October 2010, outside the Brick Lane Mosque, the Tar Hamlets Council is corrupt and he must not expose the Bangladeshi community, I said specifically, to existential challenge by ignoring what I was saying or ignoring the corruption. Now, this is not the only program that we should be talking about that, but this is just an introduction. The time now is, what is the time now? On the part one, we are doing the Baby Angel Geronimo editions, part one, 7:36, 7:37 hours GMT. So we shall be drawing this edition, part A, to an end, except to say that the intellectual properties that the Financial Times writer Bill, what is his name? Bush. Let's check his name. What is his name? Or Stephen Bush. Stephen Bush on the Financial Times editorial page, FTB, on page 22nd or 22 of Tuesday, the 28th of February 2023. Stephen Bush is now talking about Roald Dahl, the giant problem with intellectual property. But he is another version of the ethnic surrogates and ethnic intellectual properties giant problem, and he is so we're talking about intellectual property in the context of the corruption and criminality that Lutfur Rahman has committed and allowed to be committed throughout the years that he was in place between October 2010 and the day that he was kicked out of that post by Richard Morey on the 23rd of April 2015. So the damage that Lutfur Rahman has done must be repaired and compensated for. That would be one of the several essays that we shall be broadcasting and publishing by our campaign about the duties, undischarged duties that Lutfur Rahman must discharge and carry out. And we shall be, of course, updating on Crossrail and asking questions about the claim that there will be 5,000 jobs supported. What does he mean by supported? That is a tactical dishonesty in the script that Lutfur Rahman has accepted to be published in his name. As for the betrayal, as for the betrayal of the children from the former Dainford School, which was changed by the crooks in Tower Hamlets Council into mixed sex school and put on the road to degeneration, where these three girls arrived at the end of the first decade, beginning of the second decade of this century. So these children were born in the kind of last decade of the last century, and they were children when the school was, well, the school was turned into a mixed sex school 5 years before they were born. And when the school was turned into that, I was campaigning to retain the school's structure as a single sex boys' school and continue the tradition of the sensible option made by those parents, mainly Jewish parents, who knew that it better to have single sex school for boys than having mixed sex school for secondary age children. There was no sign of Lutfur Rahman at any point. So When these children became eligible to and needed, more importantly, needed the protection available to them by the law through the local council, discharging, delivering its safeguarding the children duty or duties, depending on the items that needed to be, if you like, carried out and done. And when Lutfur Rahman became incumbent in the post of mayor, while these children were being groomed, brainwashed, and indoctrinated, including by the criminals operating from bases in the East London Mosque, Lutfur Rahman remained silent, pretended that he didn't know what was going on. But the most unforgivable crime committed by Lutfur Rahman in terms of democracy is that he pretended that he didn't know about the safeguarding the children duties owed by the local Towners Council to all children. And I'll check the website again just to make sure that I am not missing any update that they have done. I don't believe they will have updated their website to show that they recognize these safeguarding children duties or recognize the British by birth child who is now age 23, Shamima Begum. Now let's see what the Towners Council's website says. So we enter the word Shamima in the search box. And what does it say? It says your search for Shamima returned 0 results. So we say Shamima Begum. And it says your search for Shamima Begum returned 0 results. This is at 07:45 GMT on Wednesday, the 1st of March 2023. But if we remove the name Shamima and leave the word Begum, what does it say? Why is it buffering? It says your search for Begum returned 52 results. And the first one is under an item inspiring and supporting Tar Hamlets women into leadership. Amazing, isn't it? They don't recognize these 3 girls, but they're talking about other women supporting Tar Hamlets women into leadership. What for? Speakers included Dr. Halima Begum. Boy, have we got a lot to say about that one. She is a mental slave, an intentional, voluntary mental slave, this Halima Begum. And she has lied, abusing the Ranimid Trust. And she has written off, she has deleted the history of the community's battle against racism in Brick Lane and around. So Halima Begum is a liar. And she hasn't even heard the beginning of our extent of outrage against this criminal. And there is another Begum, Councillor Asma Begum. And she is described as the deputy mayor and chair of Tar Hamlets Black, Asian, and Minority Ethnic Inequalities Commission. Now, what a stupid name! Minority Ethnic Inequalities Commission. It's not a commission to eliminate inequalities, but presumably to promote inequality, which is what they are doing. And then there is another Begum called Rahima Begum, who is described as an artist, London based artist, consultant, and activist. But of course, there is no Shamima Begum, there is no Sharmina Begum. So, what are the other girls doing? Tumblr, I was waiting for the results page to come up again. It takes time to reboot, if you like. And this is the so Shamima Begum is not there, and Shamima is not there, but we cannot access the search option because of the delay in the page coming up in this edition. So we shall be leaving it to a later edition, either later today or at another time, another date. And we shall be doing that to make sure that we have checked and given them the opportunity to show that they have actually mended their wrong and corrupt and illegal and prejudiced and dishonest behavior, illegal behavior. Regardless of what the UK central government department and the UK ruling party, so called the Conservatives, say or do or want to do by exploiting and abusing the plight of these girls, regardless of any of that, Tower Hamlets Council had owed the duty of safeguarding these children way, way, way before, because they were only ever, to our knowledge anyway, recognized, established, and reported on in February 2015. Until that time, when the media covered them and they are collected the three pictures, three of them together, walking somewhere in Turkey or somewhere in the kind of distance, whatever place it was that they were filmed in or pictured in. So Lutfur Rahman was in place, incumbent mayor, from October 2010 until October 2014, December 2014, when Sharmina Begum, according to the previous entries on Wikipedia about her, was handled and brainwashed by the two women operating from the East London Mosque base, used by the or abused by the so-called Sisters Forum. And these two women told Sharmina Begum, who was heartbroken after losing her mum, that the easiest way, the quickest way for Sharmina to meet her mum would be for her, Sharmina, to find her way into heaven. That's that's what the wiki entry, now deleted that part, said. Well, entry, it was there for quite a while. Now, why did they delete it? Was it because we drew attention to that, or somebody else did? Because we don't notice that anyone else has been talking about this. So, according to this entry that is now deleted but remains available in archives, this Sharmina Begum, who missed her mom terribly, was only 14 or 15, had been brainwashed into thinking that she would actually meet her mom by committing suicide. Shahada. That's what the wiki said, not us saying it. So she went to wherever she went to in Syria or wherever in order to do that. That is what the wiki entry said. And what they did was, these women, these two Sisters Forum women, went to Heathrow Airport or airport, whatever the airport was, with this really gullible individual missing her mom terribly. And they put her on the plane or helped her get on the plane on her way to Syria or on her way to the ISIS or whatever. So that was happening, all of that was happening while Lutfur Rahman was incumbent in the post of the mayor at the expense of Tower Hamlets. This was happening in Whitechapel, not far from the former Royal London Hospital building that he is now boasting about. What stopped Lutfur Rahman from doing his job and applying the legally necessary duties to protect these children? Sharmina Begum first, and the other three girls later, because the other three also were abused and were kind of reported as having left the UK and were filmed apparently somewhere either in Turkey or in Syria. I'm not looking at the caption now, so I can't quote anything exactly except to say that they were filmed and they were reported, their image or images were variously distributed in the mainstream media in the West in Britain. Whoever published this, whatever the source was, Tower Hamlets Council employs a number of people, dozens of people in the propaganda and monitoring and whatever. What stopped these people noting this and bringing to the attention of Lutfur Rahman the duty that Lutfur Rahman owed as the executive mayor? How dare they? They're boastfully describing him as the executive mayor. What on earth has he done? Lying, denying the protection, the safeguarding of the Tower Hamlets Council. We are concerned about the Tower Hamlets Council owing to the crimes that they have been exposed to. We are not concerned as much about the aftermaths, because the aftermaths we are not concerned about, because those things are beyond the control of any local council in Tower Hamlets, whatever is happening in whatever. We are talking about what was within the duty and the capacities available to Tower Hamlets Council. Why did Tower Hamlets Council to these girls, four girls? Number one. Number two is, why is there no entry on the Tower Hamlets Council website under the search term Shamima, or the sharp searching term of Shamima Begum? Or, and we have done this earlier in the previous edition, not in this edition, we also searched the three words, the phrase with the three words, safeguarding children duty or safeguarding children duties, and there is blank, there is zero. This is not an exemption that Tower Hamlets should be allowed to actually apply to itself. It cannot be behaving as if it is exempt from legal duties. And we shall be pursuing this further. And these are the, if you like, beginnings of the very serious, rigorous questions that Lutfur Rahman must face and answer. He cannot be allowed to himself and his image by abusing Tower Hamlets, community, or Whitechapel, or the building, the Royal London Hospital building. None of those things are his achievements, for heaven's sake. I was one of the people in the 1980s that took action, direct action, against the then SDP liberal brand of the Tower Hamlets Council that had taken over at the election 1986. And when the SDP liberals took over the sort of controlling of the Tower Hamlets Council after the 1986 council election, Lutheran was nowhere there. I mean, he was a schoolboy. If he was not a schoolboy, I would like to know what kind of college was he there, or was he attending in 1986? Because according to the solicitor's disciplinary proceedings, Lutfur Rahman was only a solicitor late in 2000s, whereas he told me personally at the Old Gate East station in 1994 that he was a solicitor who was appointed later. Sure, there wasn't. So he lied to me. Anyway, this whole series of the claims that Tower Hamlets Council is kind of achieving something by shifting the town hall to Royal London Hospital is a myth, is a lie, because the town hall was based in Patriot Square of the Cannon Road until we took direct action Marxist leadership of the Town Council, Lib Dems, in the form of Jeremy Shaw, the racist liar, and Eric, whatever, these criminals decided that as they were at the town hall in one demonstration, they decided that they would be safer away from the demographic middle of the community, and they took the town hall all the way to Mulberry Place, which is another country in terms of transport, in terms of access, and all the rest of it. So ever since then, there has been demand for Town Council HQ, town hall, to be moved to somewhere that is central to the community. How dare Luther Roman make this claim that it was his idea? He wasn't even there. So it's a lie that he or his cabal are to be credited for choosing this site as the town hall for the council. The council was having to pay too much money to the private people who owned the Mulberry Place. So the demand has been there from the beginning. And I have been one of the people that started the demand that the Mulberry Place should not be allowed to remain the town hall for Townless, long before anyone ever heard of Luther Rahman. And anyone even fantasized about creating a wiki entry, which is what happened. Somebody falsified a lot of things and created a wiki entry after the name Luther Rahman that was chosen by Keith Sleaze Vaz and George Galloway and Ken Livingston to become the first mayor nominee for the executive mayor arrangement. So we shall be updating on all of those things, and we shall be commenting, and we shall be demanding answers from the Town Council why it has betrayed, let down those 4 children. This is ending at 1 hour, 3 minutes, and few seconds at 08:05 hours GMT on Wednesday, the 1st of March 2023, marking the 18th calendar year since we demonstrated outside the Mulberry Place on the 6th, 2006, which is the 1st of March 2006, the same day, Wednesday, against the Crossrail Hole and the Town Council collusion, complicity with the Crossrail Hole